Friends, today we're going to kind of come to another ugly portion of the book of Acts. And for the first time, we're going to see division in the church. Now, when we think about division in the church, we know that division in the church has been a problem since the early church. I mean, in Acts 2, 3, and 4, and in chapter 1, we see this unity. They're united in prayer. They're standing together. They're firm in their resolve. But now in chapter number 6, there's going to be division. When we think about division in the church, I'm reminded of the first church that I pastored. And they had this church growth campaign that they liked to do. And in the church growth campaign, they would have two individuals that would lead basically two teams. And those two teams were to see who could win the most people for Jesus and who could get the most people to come to church. And I'm not making this up, and I love their heart and what they were doing, so I'm not knocking them. I love the church. They're the sweetest people on the face of the planet. They're one of the greatest churches you could ever imagine. I just always get so tickled at their idea of what they named the two teams, okay? So they named the two teams the Hatfields and the McCoys. Now, if you know anything about the Hatfields and the McCoys, they're a family, I believe, from West Virginia that have been at war for 200 years with each other, just fighting constantly. And I just always thought it was just a bit funny that that first church I pastored, they had this church growth campaign, and the two teams were the Hatfields and the McCoys, who are at war with each other. And we think about that, and unfortunately, that is a good picture of what happens in a lot of churches, isn't it? I mean, you have different power groups in the church. You might have a family, or you might have a committee, or you might have a group of individuals, and they hold a lot of power. And before long, what happens is people rise up against each other, and this division takes place inside the church. And what I want to say to that is, always remember that the reason we see things like that in the church is because we are all fallen people. Friends, I want to just relieve a bit of a burden off of you today.